Welcome to our next video. In this one, we explore the island of Islay, specifically the distilleries that are located on the island. And we see a little bit of the narrow lanes and kind of the overview. We spent 3 days here. Hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments section and we'd be happy to answer them. So we learned in Norway that you have to watch out for goats on the road if you see goat poop. But here in Scotland, you gotta watch out for sheep on the road because you see sheep poop.
Here I am filming this gorgeous vista. You're over there talking about poop.
Yep.
Car coming. Yay. Okay. So this is how this works. We pull over here and this person comes out the hole. And you wave. Easy peasy.
2 miles.
2 more miles. We've been on this road for 2 miles already. But it's gorgeous. Oh, milk cows. Or as my uncle would say, those are Holsteins, Beth. And then there's a bunch of geese or something in the field here.
Oh, we made it here. First stop.
First stop.
10 in the morning.
Saturday morning.
This was our first stop and our first tour of the whiskey distilleries in Islay. We got inside the building here and got to meet our tour guide, and they basically took us out and started the tour like right away. So we're going to do the same thing.
And we keep the barley for around 10-15 hours. Then we continue to dry barley by constant air. The temperatures now, so the refrigerator, we have 2 fans, so we can stick to flavor lines, and the barley is around 5.
Our tour guide went into great detail on how to make whiskey.
The cool thing about this distillery is they grow everything themselves on their own farm, from harvest to what they use to make the whiskey itself. So everything is grown there and bottled there and distilled there. And actually this was one of my favorite whiskeys of the whole time we were there.
So basically it's a farm to table whiskey. And our guide went on to explain how they malt the whiskey, how they malt the grain, how they get the peat flavor into it, how they smoke it, all that. He goes on for another 10 minutes, so we're going to kind of fast forward to our next section. So here's a tourist taking pictures of the dirt. Our next section, we got to go to the warehouse and see all the finished product and hear about why putting whiskey in wood for at least 3 years is so important, and things about angel share and mixture and different kinds of barrels. It was really interesting. And then we were done and back on the road again, heading to the next distillery. So this one's got the lights on. So the fire's down here. Up here's the peat. Up there is the malted barley. And then the pagoda is the top. That's where the smoke gets directed back down. So, very cool.
Land in which we're built on. Now, you get a lot of other Gaelic translations, folk, like Tamavillain, so the villain and Lagavulin and Tamavillain both mean the same thing, kind of in the whole for the most part. The Laga, we like to say it means mill. Now, folks, the amount of barley that we actually get every single day is only one shipment at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's about 25 tonnes. We're getting that shipment about 6 times every single week. The only time we don't get a shipment is on the Sunday. That gives us time to catch up on our process. Now, if you look behind you, you'll see our water source. Now, despite living on Islay for a wee while, folks,
the next section of the video where we were recording was pretty loud. Needless to say, it's a mill. It's a very old mill. All the grain that goes through the distillery goes through this mill. And we noticed that of all the distilleries that we went to, they're all using the same machine. So, this is what whiskey production starts with, and they're all very proud of their mills. And they just, I don't know, they're just proud of their mills. But it's very noisy in here, so there's no way you guys would hear anything that was going on in there. Interesting, they mentioned that with these mills, there's one guy that fixes them. They only trust one guy to take care of these. And he's getting old, and they're going to have his son step up and take his place. So, fingers crossed, we're still going to get the same quality whiskey. So, as you can tell, this is another loud part of the tour. There you go, I got that background noise turned down. These are the mash tuns. Down there is where the grain, the water, and the yeast are making alcohol. And that alcohol is what they distill. That's why they call it a distillery. Learn something new every day. So up there is the bell. It's in the Lagavulin crest, emblem, whatever. The story about the bell, let me zoom back out here. The story about the bell is that somebody would sit up there, or people would be there. When the tax collector came, they'd pick up the stills and stuff and head over to the church and put the stills in caskets. And that was like to hide them from the revenuers, so, or something like that, some kind of folklore that the guy gave us. But it's pretty cool. There's a bell up there. It's part of their history. Lagavulin. Hey.
Hey.
What do you think of Islay?
Beautiful.
Pretty nice, right?
Yeah, it's been fun.
Just pulled over here and wanted to take a picture of that. We'll be in bed before the sun goes down, but it's damn pretty here. There's cows over there. It's gonna be really hard to go through this footage.
Too much beautiful scenery to pick from.
Yep. Like right there.
Yeah, thanks, honey.
Very beautiful scenery.
Thanks.
Sheep on the road.
Yep.
We are at
Lefroy,
Why are we here?
so we can shop for whiskey.
Whiskey
Also
shop.
because this is the distillery from 1815.
And it's in silent season, which means no tour for us.
Right.
But that's okay. We're in a good spot here.
It's beautiful.
Is it pretty? Unfortunately, Lefroy was in what's called silent season. They're not doing any manufacturing, and they're rehabbing their distillery. So they didn't have any tours or anything. You could go and get a tasting and stuff like that, but we just chose to buy a couple of the unique bottles that they have there, and we walked around the grounds. It's really cool. Took a couple of pictures, and then went on our way. There's that mill again. Okay, nerd alert. This little box on the right and the scale is how they tell that the grain is getting ground the correct way. They weigh all three kinds of grain, the flour, the grain, and the uncracked grain, and then determine that the correct ratios are there. So there's a little bit of science going on here too, besides old machines. And they document everything. This is one of the mash tuns. The things were huge. Our guide, real nice lady, she was originally from Canada, and she moved to Scotland for the golf and stayed for the whiskey. And as you can see, everybody's very proud of their mills. So what was going on here, it's a really noisy room, but this big wooden thing you're looking at is a hopper full of barley that is going down into the mill, and it's getting milled to the correct consistency to put back up into the mash tun to start the process of fermenting whiskey. So, or alcohol, I should say, but super noisy. Hope that explains it. Since I'm explaining things, these were the mash tuns where that grain would come up. They add water, let it ferment, turns into alcohol. They bring the alcohol here to distill it into the alcohol that goes into the barrels that are in the warehouse. And after that, it's just a short wait of 3 to 20 years, and you have Scotch whiskey. Ardbeg was a cool distillery. Can you guess what this is? How about this? Do we have any guesses on what this machine is? How about this? In Florida, they call it White Lightning. Out of all the tours we took, I think the Ardbeg tour was my favorite. Tour guide was really cool. The facility is really neat. And it was a fun time.
Good morning. the ocean is like all different colors. It's like a rainbow in the ocean. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's blue and green and white and aqua. There's beautiful white houses over there, seagulls hanging out. This is the island in the morning. So pretty. It's better to be safe.
To your right.
Is he waving? Is that cow waving? Hi, what cow? Oh, yeah, make the noise more. He says you're not speaking Gaelic.
I don't understand English.
I'm a Scottish cow.
Come on! There were some big trucks on Islay. There's also some pretty big sky. But it was soon getting time for us to leave, so we started heading towards the ferry and our way off of Islay. So that's peat. That's the maltings. It's where they're making peated malt for a lot of the distilleries on the island. That's Diago. So that's where Lagavulins peated malt comes from. That little factory. They have a distillery back there too. We don't know what it is.
And we're heading into Port Ellen to catch our ferry. Oh, look at that ship, Mark. Is that the ferry? No.
No. It was there yesterday too.
So beautiful sunny Scotland morning is now beautiful gray Scotland morning.
Is this where we hit pizzeria?
I think so.
Yesterday?
I don't know.
Really good stay on the island, though, I thought.
We'll do a recap when we park. Here we are at the port waiting for our ferry. We're the second ones here, the little white car. They were the first ones here. Got an hour and a half. And they think that's where the ferry's going to dock. I said we have an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, here, this is our ticket. It's fuzzy. Ah, there we go. Okay.
Just making breakfast, waiting for the ferry. Beth just showed you the outside.
What do we have in Mark?
Back bacon and eggs.
Living the dream, sitting in a parking lot, enjoying our breakfast, looking out at the sea.
So here comes the ferry. It backs in, as you can see. And it bounces around a little bit. I don't know how we're getting on this ferry because the gate's right there. I don't think I can make that turn, but we'll see what happens. And these are all the people waiting to get on. And we got 4 camper vans here. So we'll see how that all comes about. It's a big boat. Beth, have you ever been on as many ferries as we've been on the last couple of weeks?
No, I mean, we've been on, I don't know how many ferries.
Total it up, it's a bunch.
I mean, our first one was from Germany to Sweden, and then all over Sweden, Norway, lots of ferries. Yep. And then here, now getting to the island, another ferry. And there was a Denmark ferry.
Then we got another ferry to go to Ireland.
Yeah, so
then we'll have a ferry to go from Ireland to back to Europe.
Yeah. Back to England first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to Europe.
Yep.
We're getting to be pros at this.
Yeah, and it's never fun. It's always nerve-wracking.
Mark's always stressed out about it.
Yeah, so we'll see you on the ferry.
Did you show all the cards?
All kinds of stuff going on. Here comes the ramp.
We're on the ferry. We got the best seats in the house. We're at the back of the ship. A window and a view. Comfy chairs, tables.
There's a respect. The art is for the people.
Dogs are not permitted in the carpets or any other seating. Anyone wishing to smoke a vape can only do so on the outside deck of deck 6. For waste disposal, please use the recycling bins that are made available throughout the ship. Finally, if you require any further information or help, please don't hesitate to contact any member of our onboard services team. Thank you, and once again, good morning.
That was Craig. That's Port Ellen, where we just left. A slight roll. Somebody here has COVID.
Yep. Sounds like it.
We always say you need to be
They parked the cars closer.
So obviously I sped this up a little bit, but this was the ramp going down on the ferry. We were sitting that close to the front that we could see the ramp go down. Just kind of neat. I'm sure the people that do this all the time, it's like no big deal, but for us it was nice to see how everything works. And I left it in here, kind of sped it up so that you could see it too. Maybe you can see it. It was kind of looking through the side, but it was pretty cool. The whole front of the boat opens up and there's a ramp and hydraulics and I don't know, just really cool. So here we are getting off the ferry. And that's about all we have for this video. Hope you enjoyed watching it.
I really enjoyed our visit to the island in Scotland. Not just the distilleries, but the animals that we saw and the weather and living next to the ocean. It was really a great experience for me.
So those two pictures, that wasn't our collection. This is our collection of what we took off the island with us. So we saw how they made whiskey from peat to the barrel. And in 3 to 5 years, if you're on the island, you can probably sample some of the whiskey that we saw them making, because it's sitting in those barrels right now, waiting for you. So we hope you enjoyed the video.
And we'll see you up and down the road.